So you're getting ready to hop into Battlefield 6, either the beta or the full launch, and you click play, you load up the game, and then the window just closes out and you get an error message that says SecureBoot is not enabled. DICE is enforcing strict system requirements this time, including TPM2 and UEFI SecureBoot. If you don't have these enabled on your computer, you're not going to be able to play this game. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can check and make changes to enable whatever is needed for your computer. The easiest way to verify that you meet the requirement is by pre-downloading the open beta, either through the EA app or Steam, and then launching the game. If the game launches to a Battlefield 6 open beta graphic with a press space to continue button, then you should be all set to play the beta. You can close out the video. If instead you see a window close out and you get an error message that says SecureBoot is not enabled, then you'll want to continue on through the steps here. All right, so the first thing we need to do is identify what configuration our computer's in to start with. So we're going to do that by pressing the Windows key and typing system information, and then opening the result that comes up. And from this page, we are looking for two lines. So the first one's BIOS mode. This is either going to say UEFI or legacy. And we're also looking for secure boot state, which could say on, off, or unsupported. So if BIOS mode is legacy, then secure boot mode is going to show as unsupported. If BIOS mode is as UEFI and secure boot is off, then all you need to do is enable that in the BIOS. So we'll get to that in a minute. You could skip down below to the chapter where we cover that. If your system information page showed legacy for the boot mode, we're going to need to swap that to UEFI. Before we can do that, we need to make sure the boot record format for your boot drive is compatible with UEFI boot. So here's how we're going to do that. Press the Windows key plus the X key and open Disk Management. Then we're going to right click on the system drive and click Properties. From there, we're going to go to the Volumes tab, and we're looking for the partition style. If it says GPT, then you're ready to convert to UEFI mode, and you can skip ahead to that part of the video. If it says MBR, then that's going to need to be converted. So before we get into that, I just want to give a warning here. Changing from MBR to GPT can break your install if something goes wrong. There's a very low risk of this happening, but I strongly recommend backing up any personal information on your system prior to doing these next steps. Okay, so to convert from MBR to GPT, let's go ahead and press the Windows key and the X key and click Windows PowerShell Admin. So you can run a validation check without performing the conversion first by typing the following. So it's MBR to GPT /validate /allow full OS. And press enter, and that's going to give you a validation check. And then if you're ready to move on to converting, we can go ahead and type MBR to GPT /convert /allow full OS, and then press enter. So after converting, your system is going to have to be switched to UEFI boot mode in BIOS for it to work anymore, but that's also how we're going to be able to turn on secure boot. So that's going to be our next step here. All right, now we are ready to convert from legacy to UEFI boot in your BIOS. So to get into your BIOS, we're going to need to restart the machine. And as the computer is turning on, you're going to want to repeatedly press whatever the key is to get into your BIOS. So this varies for every motherboard manufacturer, but for most of the ones that I've worked with, it's typically the delete or DEL key on your keyboard. Other motherboards may use the function keys or F keys on the top row of your keyboard. Either way, this is usually displayed on screen during the boot process. So if you don't know what it is, you can, check it there. So everybody's BIOS is probably going to look a little different from the one that I'm working in today. But typically there'll be a menu with boot in the title. And so for this ASRock motherboard, we just need to double click the compatibility support module option and disable it. If you're having a hard time finding the specific setting for your motherboard, you can find the name of your motherboard from the system information page that we looked at in one of the earlier steps, and then Google the motherboard name and switch to UEFI. The important thing here is that on some machines, you're going to be looking for boot mode to switch from legacy to UEFI, but then on other boards like this one that I'm on, it calls it compatibility support module, but they're the same thing effectively. After we get the correct setting changed here, we want to just go ahead and save and exit and click confirm on any dialog box that pops up on us. Now we are ready to enable TPM and SecureBoot. So to do that, we're going to need to get into the computer's BIOS. So we're going to restart the computer, and as it's coming up, repeatedly press the key to enter your BIOS. So this key varies by motherboard manufacturer. For the most of the ones that I've worked with, it's going to be the delete or DEL key. Other keyboards might use the F keys or the function keys in the top row of the keyboard, but typically it will show on screen what that key is during the boot sequence. So for this motherboard in the BIOS, we're going to go to the Security tab, and then we want to turn on SecureBoot. If you get an error message like the one that I have on screen, that means that your TPM is not turned on or that the keys aren't configured. So you should have an option similar to the one that I have here, which says to install the default SecureBoot keys, and we want to go ahead and do that option. After that, you should be able to go back to the SecureBoot option and turn that on, and then we can save and exit. The menu options that you'll have in your BIOS may look very different from what you see on the BIOS that I'm working in, but that's okay. If your BIOS looks nothing like the one in the example here, and you can't find any of the options that I'm talking about, the best thing to do is probably going to be to Google your motherboard's name plus enable SecureBoot. And your motherboard manufacturer should have a link that shows you what these settings are in your specific BIOS, and hopefully it'll also tell you exactly where you can find them in those menus. Once you get your computer booted back up after saving those changes, you can check the system information again like we did at the start if you want to confirm that SecureBoot is enabled. But really the best check that we can do is to launch the Battlefield 6 beta again and make sure we get all the way to the press to start screen. Now, if any of you have a system that still says SecureBoot is unsupported, or your BIOS is only showing legacy as the option, then it is possible that your hardware doesn't support it. But if you comment below with whatever questions you have about the process, or if you want any specific assistance, I'm happy to help people out, either in the comments here or over on Discord in a direct call as time allows. That's going to do it for today's video, though, so if this helped you, please drop a like, subscribe for more Battlefield 6 content, and let me know in the comments what issues you may have run into. I have a lot of guides coming relating to Battlefield 6, so be sure to follow along.